Hi, I'm Greg. Happy New Year. 2020 was like, I mean, other than the pandemic and the politics and the economy and the culture wars and the closed businesses and schools and churches and disrupted lives and families and chaos on our streets and pretty much the near total failure of our leaders and institutions. Other than that, it was a great year. You know, a lot of us got up this morning, we looked at the resolutions that we made a year ago, and we feel like we didn't move forward. We're just stalled, or we're on our back feet. We feel like we're not in control, that we're just reacting to whatever 2121 is going to throw at us. Well, I don't know about you, but I've had enough of it. So I'll tell you what, this year, let's take back our lives.
One of the reasons we don't feel free right now is that we've got some twisted notions of freedom. You know, on the one hand, our culture tells us that we're autonomous individuals. We're free to do and be and become anything our heart desires. But on the other hand, we're told that we're just, products and prisoners of vast systems like class and race and gender and climate spread over thousands of years. So you're just an intersection of categories that define you. If you can check the right boxes, then you're a victim and a hero. Check the wrong boxes, and you're a villain. And you need to get with the progressive arc of history, or you're going to be crushed underneath it. So which is it? Are we free or not? I mean, what real choices do we actually have? I mean, what do we just need to accept, and when do we have to conform? I mean, these questions are playing themselves out every day at every level in our culture right now. And a lot of us feel stuck, torn up, unable to move forward in our lives. It's almost as if some vast supernatural intelligence is just gaslighting us, lying to us about our choices. In the biblical story of the Garden of Eden, the serpent lied about just this very thing, about the boundary between freedom and accountability, about what it meant to be authentically human and what was just a deceitful dream. So the first step to taking back our lives this year is to grow in wisdom, to begin seeing clearly who we really are and what we're truly responsible for, and what choices we can legitimately make. Then we can start living authentically. And that's going to determine whether we're going to be good people and live freely or not. Radical autonomy isn't an authentic vision for humanity. We just aren't disconnected beings. I mean, that's a vision of life that isn't true, it isn't good, and it certainly isn't beautiful. Adam and Eve were created to be partners. She was bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. We are made to love and to serve the common good. That's what the old thinkers used to call human solidarity. But neither were we made to be interchangeable parts in some vast collective human hive. We are individuals with moral agency and with moral responsibilities that come with that agency. And that's an important word here, agency. You see, agency is the capacity to make choices and act on them. And one of the worst things that poverty or prison or police states can do to people is to strip them of their sense of agency, to make them feel that they have no choices, that they're just helpless pawns at the mercy of whoever's at the top of the hive pulling the strings. Well, we all have choices, even the poor and prisoners and people in police states. We can choose to live for truth, or we can live for lies. And every single day we make dozens, hundreds of little choices, either for good or not for good. And over time, those add up to be a trajectory in either one direction or another. One small choice at a time, we can love and work for a good and beautiful vision of life, or we can be driven by what's just hateful and ugly and fearful. And that makes us moral agents. We have the freedom to choose and to act. You know, the big deception of our culture is that it makes us responsible for the things that we have no agency in, for our race, our civilization, things that happened hundreds or thousands of years ago. But it gives us a giant pass on the choices that we actually do have. You know, to choose wisdom and truth and goodness and honor, and to treasure beauty and reject ugliness, and to take responsibility for our choices and our actions and our outcomes. You know, wisdom means finding the line between responsibility and freedom, between the facts that we just need to accept, the duties that we owe to God and to other people, and on the other side, our moral choices and actions. So, if we want to take back our lives to be free, it begins with seeking wisdom. Then we can choose goodness. We can accept responsibility for what we can change, and we can accept with humility whatever we can't. And if we will be wise and we will do good, then we can live free. So how do we do all that? Well, that's why you should like this video and subscribe to this channel with the buttons below. Because this is the Take Back 21 Challenge. This year, I'm going to share 52 ways, one a week, that we can begin taking responsibility and control for our lives, freely choosing to love others and serve the common good, while preserving our individual integrity and accountability. So, even though things are kind of weird out there right now, be not afraid. Instead, choose to be wise, do good, and live free. And subscribe to learn how.